today is really to give you a chance to interface with some of the folks that have engaged in ISCOPES in the past. These are all students. And they come from various disciplines that represent the folks that participate in ISCOPES. So we're very excited that they're here today to share their wisdom with you. We basically asked each of them to talk for about 3 to 4 minutes about their experience in ISCOPES. So they may highlight something that they specifically learned. They may highlight something that was particularly important to them. They might make a recommendation should you wish to participate in ISCOPES. They may give you some sort of inside scoop on what to expect and how to be prepared so that you can get the most out of ISCOPES should you choose to participate. Just as a reminder, ISCOPES is voluntary. It is a co-curricular experience in this case. And it is a chance for you to interface with people from other disciplines. It's also your chance to get outside of the GW bubble. You will spend plenty of time here, I promise. And you will definitely want a chance to kind of maintain your sanity a little bit. And ISCOPES is one way that you can do that. So if you are interested, we invite you to write your questions down. We'll have some time for question and answers at the end. If you don't get your question answered today, if you have a question specifically for myself or for Donna, you're welcome to email us at iscopes@gwu.edu. You can always go to our website, which is up here. It's just iscopes.gwu.edu or iscopes. We've changed it. So it's actually, this one is actually the School of Medicine Health Sciences.gwu.edu/iscopes. So you can go there. There's all the information you need about the learning communities that we work with, so the folks that we serve, the projects that we do. But if you can't find the information you're looking for, let me emphasize again, please ask, because we would love to talk with you, we'd love to meet each of you, and we'd love to find ways to get you engaged. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to ask the panelists introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their experience in ISCOPES. Anybody want to start? Not really? I'll start. Okay, go ahead.
So my name's Caitlin Bovey. I'm a second-year med student, and I did ISCOPES last year. I was in the senior wellness community with Kat. And basically we had 2 groups that we dealt with, and one was here in Boggy Bottom, like 2 blocks away, and one was off the Red Line on New York Avenue. And we just promoted like health and exercise with seniors. What else am I supposed to say? Sorry.
Whatever you learned from the program or an experience that you had that was important, or advice that you had.
Okay, so I really like the program because last year I was brand new to DC. I had come here once before moving here, and I'd seen like the monuments, and that was like it. So I think it's a nice way to kind of like get out and do something different that most people don't get to do and see a different part of the city. And I really like just meeting a lot of different people, and we got to meet a lot of cool seniors that would like talk to us about random things, which was just really fun. So, sorry, I don't know if that was good.
I'll go after her since we're in the same group. My name's Kat. I'm a dual degree Master's of Public Health and Physician Assistant student. And together with Caitlin, we had a really interdisciplinary team that consisted of other public health students as well. And so while she elaborated on the responsibilities and some of the experiences we had, that's our poster on the .n, the Senior Wellness Learning Community. I'll just share with you one of my favorite memories of the entire program. I really like the aspect of community building, and so I felt like this organization really challenged you to build a community within the interdisciplinary team that you were a part of. But not only that, it challenged you to build a community here in Washington, D.C., and I felt, just as Caitlin said, one of the best ways to really engage in this place where I'm learning is to really get to know the community. And one of my favorite memories was, just in general, was how kind of standoffish the senior citizens were at first to us, not really wanting to participate in the activities we presented to them, nor did they really want to participate in the educational materials we gave about nutrition. But over time, with determination and persistence, we were really able to break down those barriers and build real relationships with them that are going to be with us forever.
My name is Kelly. I am a second-year public health student studying global environmental health, and I was in the Guardian engagement team with Zach. And so we worked with parents and guardians, talking with them about engaging with their child's healthcare provider, and just helping them feel empowered in that situation. We also had 2 sites. One was in Adams Morgan and one was in Anacostia. So that was really cool because Adams Morgan is a place that you might know for other nightlife activities, but don't necessarily go to serve other people. And then Anacostia, I wouldn't have any other reason to go down there. So that was a really interesting experience. I would say one of the things that is really cool about ISCOPES is it teaches you to really take the initiative. It's kind of along with the whole grad school spirit, but service projects that I did in college and high school and things like that, usually it was like really well defined what you were supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it. And ISCOPES is really all about you and your team taking the initiative and doing things as you see fit. So that's a little difficult at first, and it's something that you have to realize, or else it might take you a while to get things started. But we had a really great team. It's cool to be able to interact with different kids in different programs and medical students as well. So it was a great experience.
If you don't mind. Yeah, I'm Zach Sporlabuda. I got to meet some of the incoming MS1s a couple days ago. Hello to all of you who I haven't met yet. But like Kelly said, I was part of the Guardian Engagement Learning community, and I think you were going towards the idea of service learning in your last remarks, where you do really create a unique project. I can't speak to the curriculum of other schools, but I imagine that if you're in a didactic portion, a lot of what you have to do is really set out and laid out for you. And it's kind of nice to sometimes have something that can really be your own, that you are creating to make what it is you want it to be and deciding what you don't want it to be as well. It was a really great thing to interact with the parents. The way we worked as a team was we all divvied up our areas of focus and became mini experts in the different topics that we wanted to interact with the parents and guardians on. And really just conversational style, had a discussion with people. And that was really empowering. I think everybody in this room probably is here because at some point in your life you've wanted to help somebody. While school is the means to get you to that end, oftentimes you don't get to do a lot of helping people while you're in school. And if that's something that you're passionate about, I really encourage you to think of ISCOPES as a way to be able to do that and help other people, and at the same time help yourself by fostering in yourself the qualities that you like.
I guess we'll circle back. My name is Rachel. I'm a second-year MPH student getting in the health promotion track. I was involved in ISCOPES last year in the Healthy Teen Scholars. Our poster is this beautiful one over here. I wanted to take a second to just circle back to what ISCOPES is. And so ISCOPES, in case you haven't read yet, is the Interdisciplinary Student Community-Oriented Prevention Enhancement Service. So after being around for a year now, I really understand what that means. When we're talking about interdisciplinary, I worked on a team of students from health administration, the Elliott School of International Affairs, med students, as well as public health students in a variety of tracks. The Healthy Teen Scholars, we did work with teenagers at the academies of Anacostia, which, as Kelly had mentioned, is not an area that you would just stumble upon. It's also a place to, a lot of things that have been mentioned here is about like relationship building and gaining trust, and that kind of experience is something that you can get through ISCOPES that's very difficult to achieve on your own. Not only just on your own as an individual, but also then coupled with being a student, that can be really challenging. Which comes down to the community-oriented part. You have community partners. The people that I worked with last year in the Healthy Teen Scholars had been our community partners for more than a year. And so they will come in with a little bit of experience too about how this program can work and what it can achieve. When it comes to the Prevention Enhancement Service, the Healthy Teen Scholars didn't have a curriculum that we implemented 5 times throughout the year. Ours was pretty variable. We're working with teenagers. So with that, it kind of had to do with what were they interested in and engaging them and understanding what can we provide them. During the fall, it was setting up a health careers fair so that they can understand if they're interested in those health careers, what does it take for them to get there. And then during the spring semester, we did a lot more of like just helping out at the school. Like They had received funds to get all this EOT equipment for their CNA classes, and they just needed people to put the boxes away. And so you might think like, oh man, I shelved a bunch of boxes of gloves, but something that we talk about a lot in ISCOPES, at least in the Healthy Teen Scholars, is something called teachable moments, and you'll learn more about that in the large group activities. And those experiences of walking to Subway after we just set up the CNA room and having a high school student ask you about what it takes to get into college, and like really being able to ask you questions about, I don't know how to write an essay, I don't know who to ask for letters of recommendation. And these are students where, just to give you an idea, the president of the student group that we work with over there and the vice president had both failed classes. Like, that is the norm. So their experience is going to be much different than yours, but you'll have things to share and you'll both benefit. And that's something too that I think that the program, on the larger scale, you're going to learn things about shared leadership, about reflection and getting the most out of your service experience. And that's something that I did not get before participating. Yeah.
I'm Esther Aranda. I'm a second year, and I'm in the Global Health Track DME. I am originally from Mexico, so I was really interested in connecting with the Latino community in the area. And ISCOPES, our project was based outside of DC in Silver Springs, so we were in Maryland. But we also had a couple sites in DC. And our group worked on adult health literacy, and our posters are there. These posters actually was one of the activities that we did at the end, where we all celebrated the end of the year, and these were put up, and we had an activity to learn about each other's projects, because during the year, we were all working on our own thing, and periodically we came together as a large group for these learning community opportunities. But so along with what my colleagues have said, we had the opportunity to work with the Latino community and use our language skills for those of us who spoke Spanish, because we were working with a group of Latina women at a health center. And this was an existing group, which was really nice to come into, and they were very open to learning from us and sharing with us, and us, on the other hand, also learning from them. So it's a two-way street. You give and you also take. So I found it to be very encouraging to have the coaches, because along with your team of students, fellow partners, you do have professors who come along with you to be there to advise and guide you. So you're not out there by yourself. So if you're not sure about the medical piece, you can turn to them, which I often did, and would rely on their expertise. And then the Latina women really, appreciated that, because they brought up questions that they weren't sure about, or they had heard, well, my neighbor said this, or I read about this, but I'm not sure. So we could give them the right answer. But let's see. So although you can create your own experience, you're not just starting from scratch with nothing. You do get a starter project that you can then shape, work with the learning community to figure out what works for them. And in our case, the group that we were with was very open to our suggestions, and the community leaders that we worked with worked with us closely to give us feedback as to what would be appropriate. And so we tailored our programs to that. The other nice thing that we did was bring brochures with us, things that the ISCOPE office, the library keeps. And our community leader really appreciated that, because she would take whatever extra supplies we had and give them to the doctors, who then handed those out to patients. So we brought in resources, but we also took a lot back, because we were connecting with a community that we may not necessarily connect to on a day-to-day basis. And you just feel really good that you're doing something. You may not think it's a lot, but it really does make a difference in their lives.
I guess I go last. Hi guys, my name is Jay. I'm actually an undergrad at GW, going to med school here next year. So I was in a transitioning veterans, that American poster right there, and I had one of the best experiences I've ever had as an undergrad. First of all, I didn't even plan to join ISCOPES. Actually, the history of my joining ISCOPES is I had an interview of med school here 2 years before, and I came to, that day was ISCOPES celebration day. At the end, they brought a speech, and everyone shows their poster, what they did, and I loved what the speech and what they did is, and I have to agree with all the colleagues here, and you make your own experience and you actually learn from it. I had my personal life, I had nothing to do with veterans. I didn't know anything about veterans. I joined the team, and first meeting, it was everyone got together, coaches, and there was Professor Paul Schutte. He gave a lot of wisdoms. He told me what veterans were about and how much it impacted, like how much they're suffering. And we did a lot of events, fun events. We did 45K, was it? We went out there to give some support to veterans. We also went to VA hospital to celebrate George's 101st birthday with his wife. And it was really fun. And Donna and I also went to Veterans Service Day, and it was really fun because we went bowling with the veterans. It was fun, and you learn a lot. I didn't even know anything about veterans, and we had this one event too. Well, Professor Paul Schutte showed videos about how much they're suffering. Like what I didn't know that they were suffering that much. And the best thing about ISCOPES is you make your own experience and you learn from it. I always come to Don and Angie and like, what about this idea? And they'll say, yeah, that's cool. And I talked to Professor Schutte about what about this idea? And then we always meet every week at Froggy Bottom. To meet that's our meeting place. About 6 of us, 7 of us get together, and we just talk about what we should do. We got CBS News coming. Should we get on that? And Professor Schutte actually got interviewed by the CBS guy, and we did so many things. This guy, But I do want to say, if you want to make an impact, if you want to do something, if you have any ideas, they'll listen to you. It's not like other activities, volunteer exercise where you don't really have a say. But here, ISCOPES, they'll listen to you, and you can say, what if you go to VA Center and just play music for veterans? They'll say, yeah, let's make that happen. They're really cooperative. I've learned a lot, and then you will see I met a lot of doctors and amazing veterans, and I think it's a great experience. And what else? It helped me personally, ISCOPES. And I learned a lot. And events, you have so many events at the end of the semester. You'll have all the people with posters, what they did. I learned about laughing yoga, I think, from the other team. You laugh. And you just meet a lot of people. If you want to make an impact, and you have some idea, they will listen to you. And they'll help personally too. I was wondering if I want to be an MPH. I asked them. Yeah, they'll help you a lot personally too. So great people, great experience. You can make any events happen. Great meeting. Coaches are the best. You will have amazing coaches. They pick the best coaches in the world. I wish Professor Shudi was here, but he was amazing. And I don't know, there's so much to say about ISCOPES. I think my plan, I don't think I do transitioning veterans. I'm planning to do every other team and learn a lot. I didn't even know anything about veterans, and I learned a lot. So I'm probably going to learn something else and learn more, make an impact, and go about from there. And yeah.
So I will fix the vets poster in a moment, but I wanted to make sure that you guys had an opportunity to ask questions, to follow up on anything that anybody said, if you want some clarification about it, and we can kind of just take some terms, but make sure that you speak loudly enough so everybody can hear you. I saw you in the back first.
Yeah, I think it sounds awesome, but like I gotta be realistic. What are the time commitments like?
Okay.
Go ahead. So I can just speak to it from the med student perspective. I believe that there is a requirement, correct me if this has changed years on it, of 8 hours per month. Now that 8 hours can be structured however. Ours generally was about an hour or two of meeting, 2 to 3 hours of like at home on your own doing work, and then another 2 or 3 depending on the map of implementing. Yeah, so 8 hours per month is the fixed commitment, but how you make that is really up to you. And for any events that are scheduled, they've already been scheduled coordinating the calendars of all the different schools, which you've seen your schedule.
Yeah, just to jump off of that, are you a med student or, okay. When we did it, we worked like a doodle schedule. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but you can like put everyone in your group, like your time commitments, and find a time that works for everyone or as many people as can come. So I didn't come to everything and like no one was at everything, but we kind of like rotated who would be there. So it made it work. And for the medical student schedule, like you should have a time period off a week, either on Tuesday or Thursday. So I ended up using that, or we went on the weekends, or better yet, if you're not a class goer, you have all the time you want.
Well, you're not advocating that you're not.
Yeah. But I went to class and I did this, and it was like totally fine.
And just to add as well, I was on Zach's team, and he was our only medical student on the team, and the public health school schedule was stressful as well for sure, but like medical schools, we understand a lot different, and so there'd be a couple times if he had big exams coming out, he'd be like, I can't, do that this week, and it was totally fine, because it was so valuable to have him on the team, to have that medical voice, that we were fine when he had to bow out.
Well, and that's why you do it as a team. The team mentality only works if members are supporting each other, and our team had great support. You guys are great.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. For my transitioning veterans team, because everyone's schedules were off, people could meet. We did this Google schedule too. People could meet to come. People who can't meet, they could come every other week. And we, if someone said, I don't know if I can do this, I don't have my time, someone will jump in and take the lead. We shared every work. And it was enough so that, I was doing an 18 credit class, and this was way too easy. It was the easiest volunteer I've ever done and learned so much. Because everyone were really willing to do a lot of work. Not a lot of work, but just we shared all the work. And even coaches helped a lot. They did a lot of work too. I'm pretty sure they'll all agree with, you don't have to spend too much time. I'm pretty sure medical students can easily handle this work.
Yeah. Also, I did healing clinic as well, and I was able to balance both of them. So if that's what you're interested in too, like don't feel like you need to choose one or the other. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned that on your group project, each of you became a mini expert. What are some of the resources that you use to develop that expertise?
Sure. So as a med student on the team, a lot of times people would look at me and expect that I know things, but
It's true.
after a month of school, you can describe epithelium. Woohoo. That's probably not the question that's being asked of you. So in terms of resources, 1, you go to your class textbooks. 2, you do online research, and yes, you can start from plugging it into Google, but you can do like a PubMed search. Himmelfarb has access to every journal under the sun that you would need to become an expert for any of these topics.
And then the resource library, the ISCOPES has a resource library. So especially like when we put together the health careers fair, almost everything we got, like we didn't generate any resources for that. Everything came from already existing resources that ISCOPES had.
And to that end, it can be a good opportunity to learn something that you wanted to or needed to learn about anyway, because I don't know. things-
Yeah, Zach became our vaccine expert. He was really a rock star at talking with the parents about vaccines, so it's a good experience.
Are the sites picked by the different teams, or are they already preset?
They're preset with whatever team you get to preference a team, but then the sites are already associated with that. But most of the sites, as I understand it, they're all either on the metro or rather accessible by public transportation, and they're all deemed to be safe. And even when we were, down in Anacostia, I don't know if y'all have been to Anacostia, but it is significantly different area than the mainland of DC that you spend time on. But even so, I never felt unsafe going down there. So.
And the other thing I wanted to add to that was that there are multiple sites that may meet on different days, so your schedule, it may fit your schedule better and where you live and what metro or bus is near you. So for instance, in my case, I chose Maryland, and it was easy for me to drive over there. So, and then for those people who wanted to go out there, we either pick people up at that is nearest person, or they got to ride with somebody else.
It's okay.
Go ahead. The projects that you guys encounter, are they the long-term projects or the monthly or?
So the way that we did it was we started out with one project, and it was like jumping off the starter project that we were provided with. And then the second semester, we kind of came up with a whole new idea, but it was with the same like learning communities and the same type of ideas. So like the first semester we did nutrition, and first semester we did exercise, and the second semester we did nutrition. So you can do the same thing all year round, but you can be constantly changing as well. But it's always with the same people.
And the idea is to meet the needs of the site. So we had a site that I was never able to get to, like we were talking about earlier with figuring out where your schedule works with the sites. But in addition, it was just really hard to plan a date for us to meet face to face. So we spent some time developing a CD that we could produce and give to people that was a coherent resource. So yeah, you have your starter project, which provides like the ground for you to jump off of, but then whichever direction you jump in is completely up to you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was basically my question as well.
Okay. Did you have questions?
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of like your projects, I guess, do you guys have a method or any evaluations to see? Do you guys have to implement an evaluation or surveys to determine if you guys have been meeting the needs of your community?
That's an excellent question. And one thing that, to be honest, we didn't even think about until the end of the year when we were preparing these posters and preparing our presentations. And that's one of the things that in the resources that ISCOPES gave you to prepare for that, they were like, that's what they asked is how did you evaluate it? And we had not really set that up, our project up in a way that would allow for that, but I would highly recommend doing that because it would give you goals, and also, you might feel like you didn't accomplish anything, and then when you look at what the goals were, you actually did accomplish something.
Are you a public health student?
Yes.
So that's something too. So right off the bat, like you're already considering a topic that maybe other students aren't thinking about. So it's something that you can bring to your team because there's a lot going on, and that's something that you can consider. Also, this will give you some really good like real world experience about if you do a health career fair, how do you evaluate that? Or like, oh, we went to Subway. Like, what did that really do? How do you evaluate that experience? So this will be some really like pretty legit community experience of program implementation.
So you guys haven't, you guys will do that, or I just wanted to know how.
I think it's
what-
something that if there's the drive on the team, you can do it.
Okay.
We didn't have any like structure to our evaluation. Not to say that it shouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah, as a DME person,
Yeah.
I can't remember if we evaluated ours or not. I don't think we did on the site. The Woodland Walker, you guys, that part of our group was able to do it, but the one that went out to Mary Center did not.
With the med school time constraints, how does this fit into if we're trying to figure out if we want to do a track?
So I'm not in a track, but it's really good if you like want to go into the community health track. I believe that fulfills like some sort of requirement for that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not in that track, so I don't know. But also a lot of it is from what I think the tracks are, like your commitments are like during lunch first year, like you have lunch talks to go to. And other than that, like in the first year, I don't think that there are many other requirements. So it shouldn't overlap that much unless your group is always having lunch meetings, which is really at your discretion. So you can definitely do both.
Yeah, so with the track program, you do have the lectures primarily in your first and second year. Now you only have to attend, I think it's 80% of those lectures. Hit for 100, because then, stuff will come up, but you have some flexibility there. With the community health track specifically, you are not required to do ISCOPES, however, you are required to have a community-engaged learning experience. My thought is, why reinvent the wheel if the wheel's already there? So, ISCOPES is a great way to meet that requirement for the community health track. I don't believe it fulfills requirements for any of the other tracks that you may be considering. But on that note, all tracks require a summer internship experience. And ISCOPES can be a great way to get in with some community sites that could possibly be a site when you do something over the summer.
Yeah, you definitely make good contacts, so those can be helpful for later on.
If I could just add to that, for any of you who are going to be doing practicum projects or any kind of special projects longer term, or if you're going to be doing clerkships where you actually have the capacity to put some input into where you like to do your clerkships or rotations, this is also a good way to start building a network. One thing that is quite, I think, not obvious about DC is even though it's a big city, it's a very small town, which means everybody knows everybody. So it's a good time to start early to get to build relationships, because by the time you're looking for project sites, or you're looking for practicum sites, or you're looking for potential clerkship rotations or something along those lines, they might be taken already, or you're starting behind other people who have already started to build relationships. So it's much easier to call somebody whose cell phone you have, who you've texted before, and be like, hey, I'd really like to do this thing, and they know you, and you're not some random person that's just trying to get in their door, because they're actually interested in working with you, because they already know that you do good work. So think about it that way, much like you would be inviting somebody into your friend group or into your work group. You would probably invite somebody that you know over somebody that you don't. So just keep that in mind. Okay, back.
Is this, I guess it was kind of, I think that you guys were saying that you do this, but do you work with the same groups in the same organizations every year? And do you work with kind of the same people every year?
Yeah, can we really answer that?
Well, that's one of the things, I didn't say this originally, but that is really cool about ISCOPES is that does have a bit of the sustainability of having a name and an organization that does continue to interact with the same sites. I know that they change from time to time, but the organizations that we were working with had experience with ISCOPES in the past, and we were doing a project continuing what students had done the year before.
Yeah, so we do that on purpose because we want to ensure that we're building sustainability into what you will do. We want to build off of the shoulders of the giants that have come before you. But we also are, it's true. And we also want you to know that we're always open to working with new community partners. So if there's an organization that you know about that you want to work with, we are all about obviously relationship building. the consumers, the clients and folks that we get to work with, but generally this is such a transient population that it's more likely that people will be new each time. So that's why you build off of projects. Now it may be that you, like for some of the projects this year, there'll be like a basic version and an advanced version. So people have been through the basic version of the starter project and you want to have some advanced options for people who are repeat people, then there will be some other options for them as well. So that's kind of the flexibility that we build into the learning community so that you can really respond to whomever it is that you get to work with and really meet their needs rather than your own.
Because again, I think you said it briefly, but I wanted to highlight it. It is about relationship. Oh, there goes our poster. It is about relationships. I think a lot of times the activities really just provide an excuse for the relationship. I mean, you can provide buildings, a lectern, chairs, and a blackboard, but that doesn't make a classroom. It's really relationships that go on in there. So it's a great way to get those relationships where you can work with people and be in a space where everybody's willing to impact one another.
Other questions? In the back?
I apologize for coming in late, first of all, and Madam already said this, but is ISCOPES a one-year commitment? Can you continue to do it for 2 years? Can you do it after graduate?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. It is a one-year commitment, and then, well, I think it's like until April, so not technically like a full year.
Which you'll appreciate
Yeah.
in the spring
When
because
you have
then it'll be finals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But feel free, like if you really like it, to join again the next year. You can pick your same team, you can go on a different team, it's up to you.
You can bring it as an alum.
Yep, and then there's the opportunity to continue on to support the new teams that are formed, as well as continue to keep in touch and volunteer at the sites that you serve at.
We try to build, really the first year is like your 6-month getting to know you period, where you're really getting to know each other, you're getting to know your coaches, you're getting to know the community partners, you're serving those folks kind of in more of an intensive type of way, and there's a lot more intentionality in terms of us preparing you to go do that. And as you kind of graduate to the next level, which these guys have, we want to also mirror their experience. So we want to ensure that we provide them with opportunities that might be slightly different their second year. But then you heard Jay, who had to step out, mention that he's actually interested in going through the whole experience again and joining a team, much like you guys were his first years, because he wants to experience each learning community from that angle. So we try really hard to kind of meet your needs and where you're at as learners too.
So you might have already said this, I apologize again, for coming late, but do you have to choose one of the 5 learning communities, or do you choose more? And I know some things can be overlapped and whatnot, just in general mental health, but I really know the track of it.
Sure, so that's a great question. So all these guys start in one learning community, but if you heard, there are multiple sites within each learning community. Well, last year there was one that only had one, but this year each learning community has multiple sites. So you'll get to serve at multiple sites. Now, do we restrict you from working with other learning communities? Never. We're never going to say you can't work with people. That's just not our mantra. So we kind of have the idea that if you come up with an idea and it involves 2 or 3 or more learning communities doing something together in partnership, then we're going to support you. We're going to find out a way. If you have a good idea, we will find a way to support you.
But I would say that especially with 2 sites, you will definitely be busy, and there's absolutely a lot of opportunity for what you're thinking of, this like intercollaborative overlap of different skills. Because our 2 sites actually had different age groups too. So it was like, to a certain extent, 2 different curricula, 2 different things that the parents would be interested in. So don't worry about being bored by any means.
You will be challenged.
Yeah.
If you'd like something.
Sorry, do you get to choose your one of the 5 options?
If I remember correctly, you apply for signing to do that. You select your primary option and kind of state why. And it doesn't have to be like med school, PA school, whatever school application essay. It's literally just, tell ISCOPES about your interest. And then you do also select a secondary learning community, because if 50 people apply and they want to be part of the Guardian Engagement community, that just isn't practical. You can't have a group that size.
Yeah, we try to limit your group sizes to 12. So we did have a wait list last year. So we do things on a first come, first served basis based on who gets their applications in first. We do our best to find opportunities for even those people we can't place in learning communities. But Zach is absolutely right that we want you to be in a group size that's conducive to you becoming a team, which the best size is about 8 people. So if you start with 12 people, it's because we anticipate that people start to realize what their schedules are really like. So it is normal if you have 1 or 2 people that realize after a week or two, hey, I can't really follow through on this commitment. So we try to set you up for success as a team is the point, so that you're not overwhelmed by the number of people who are involved. We have time for one more question. Okay, so we'll just have each person on the panel just give a closing final thoughts, and then we'll dismiss.
So first of all, I don't know if Elizabeth is in the audience, but we've been emailing. So she's one of the MS ones. If any of the M ones know her and can tell her to come find me, I don't know if she was here earlier. That would be awesome. But the closing thought is based off of what you said. Life is first come, first serve. So like, especially as you're starting out in your programs, think carefully about what things you want to be involved in and how you want your character to be shaped. Because then you can just go for them and pursue them without all the distractions. There are a lot of good things going on at GW, but if you don't select beforehand what you want to do, it is very easy to get lost in the city.
And for my words are, do the application. It's really easy. Just take, set aside 15, 20 minutes, maybe not even that, and just write your heart out. And I think you'll be very happy at the end and really glad that you do this project.
My final words would be that, especially for the ISCOPES experience, but overall and in general, you get out of the experience what you put in. So if you are prepared to be challenged and prepared to at some point feel vulnerable, then this experience can help you grow as a person, and you'll take those things much farther than just this ISCOPES experience.